We call this process General Adaptation Syndrome. We have our initial event right here, the stress. So that was my 10 minutes on each side. Note that I'm not immediately now more tan. In fact, my tissues are recovering from that exposure, as evidenced by what? I'm a little bit pink. That's right. What if I were to try to tan right then, immediately after? Probably not a good idea, right? How it would go that way. And how sensitive are my tissues now to additional stress? They're far more sensitive. You try to take a hot shower after you've spent some time out in the sun, that's not going to feel very good, okay? So there's this recovery phase right here, where your body is recovering from that stress in order to demonstrate a higher level of adaptation. Now there's some things within that require investigation. We already said that it would be a bad idea if I went out and tanned and then immediately after went out and tanned, right? Because that would be this right here. And then if I immediately went out and tanned again, what would happen? It'd be even worse. And worse until what? Nope. You die. Until you die. That's right. Now, what would happen if instead of waiting the 24 to 48 hours, I waited a week? I tanned on Monday. Next Monday, I'm going to tan again. Do I make any progress? No, because although I had this adaptation, without a stress to continue to drive it along, it returns back to baseline. Now, what happened in our original example was I tanned for another 10 minutes on each side right here. Initially, the amount of recovery required from that stress was yay big. Now, because I'm more tan, is this 10 minutes on each side going to affect me as much? No. So instead of this line dipping down to here, maybe it dips down to only to here. But because the stress and thus recovery was not as significant, the amount of change, this line to this line, is also not going to be as significant. So it's a little bit shorter. See, the distance in height from here to here is shorter than this line right here. Is this making sense so far? Yes. Very good. So in the example that we gave, tanning 10 minutes on every other side, I do the same thing right here. And then the amount of stress is even less. And then this is what happens. Your body has adapted to the stress imposed on it. It will not continue to change unless what happens? The stress changes. I need to increase the amount of stress if I want to continue to demonstrate higher levels of adaptation. What is this called, by the way, when we apply the same stress and we get less and less and less out of it? Diminishing returns. Diminishing returns. Initially, the stress, recovery, adaptation process is quite simple. And because initially not a lot of stress is required, we also don't need a whole lot of what? We don't need a whole lot of recovery at first. This process can occur between 24 to 72 hours for a novice. Somebody who's starting out down here, all the way down here on this force time continuum. So that means if a novice can stress his system, recover from that stress, and demonstrate a higher level of adaptation, a higher level of force production, man, we can get that guy stronger every 48 to 72 hours, can't we? Yes, we can. Yes, we can, and that's exactly what we do. So a novice is going to come in, train heavy on Monday, and they're going to train heavy again when? Wednesday. And then they're going to train heavy again when? Friday. That's because heavy for them is not really that heavy. Heavy for them, it's a relative term.